I'm trying to write their homework problems for you. Number 5 says to write the quadratic equation in general form, and they give me 1/5 times 3x squared minus 10 equals 18x. Well, there's a few things that has to happen for it to be in general form or standard form. It has to be set. You have to have it equal to 0. You have to distribute everything. And your leading coefficient can't be a fraction, and it can't be negative. All right, so I'm going to distribute. 1/5 times 3x squared is 3/5 x squared minus 1/5 times 10 is 2 equals 18x. I'll move this over and put it in the middle. That's 3/5 x squared minus 18x minus 2 equals 0. If I can't have a fraction up here, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by 5. 3/5 times 5 would just give me 3x squared. 18 times 5 would be 90. And then 2 times 5 is 10. And 0 times 5 is 0. And that'd be what that would look like in general form. Number 10, solve the quadratic equation by factoring. Number 10. X squared minus 10x plus 9 is equal to 0. When you factor this, put x and x. I need two numbers that multiply to give me a positive 9 and add together to give me a positive 10. And it's negative 9 and negative 1. Those multiply give me 9, add to negative 10. So set both of these equal to 0. And you get x is 9 and x is 1. Those are my two answers. All right, number 15, continuing with factoring. I've got x squared plus 4x is equal to 12. So what I want to do before I factor is I want to move this over to this side. X squared plus 4x minus 12 is equal to 0. All right, so we're going to factor this. I need two numbers that multiply to give me a negative 12 and add together to give me a positive 4. That'd be plus 6 and minus 2. That multiplies to give me negative 12, adds up to 4. So x plus 6 equals 0, which would give me negative 6 for an answer. And x minus 2 equals 0, which would give me 2 for an answer. All right, continuing, one more factoring one. Number 20 is actually a difference of squares. X plus a squared minus b squared equals 0. So this is being squared, the b is being squared, and there's a minus in between it, so it's a difference of squares. So what's being squared for the first one is going to be x plus a. So I'll put x plus a and x plus a, and then difference of squares, you put plus what's being squared and then minus what's being squared. All right, to solve this, I just need to solve for x. This is going to look different than your other problems because you're not going to get like a number answer. You're going to get variables. So to solve for x, I got to move the a over. So it'd be a negative a and then a minus b. And here to solve for x, you're going to move the a over and it'd be plus b. All right, 25, they want me to solve using square roots. So 25 is going to be 3x squared equals 81. Divide both sides by 3. I get x squared equals 27. So I'm going to square root both sides, plus and minus on this side. So here's how we break down 27. 27 is 3 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. If two things are the same, it can go to the outside. So that's going to be plus or minus. I'm going to put a 3 on the outside, and I'm going to be left with a 3 on the inside. And that's how you solve 25 using square roots. Number 30. Number 30 is x minus 5 squared equals 30. All right, square root both sides. On this side, when you square root it, you get x minus 5. And over here, you get plus or minus the square root of 30. And 30, when you break it down, you don't have any 2 of anything to go to the outside. So you just leave the square root of 30. So add 5 to move it to the other side. And so it'd be 5 plus or minus the square root of 30. And that's number 30. 35 wants us to solve by completing the square. I did put a video on your Google Classroom. If you're having trouble with completing the square, you may want to look back at that video. It's x squared minus 2x is equal to 0. First step is to make sure their leading coefficient is equal to 1, which it is. Second step is move any constants to the other side. There's not any constants to move, so I can skip that step. Third step, take half of b, square it, and add it to both sides. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. If I square it, I get 1, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. By doing that, I've just made this left side into a perfect square trinomial. It is x minus 1 squared. X minus 1 times x minus 1 is x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then this side is 0 plus 1, which is 1. So now I'm going to solve this by square roots. I'm going to square root this side and square root this side. So on this side I get x minus 1. On this side I get plus or minus the square root of 1, which is 1. So I'm going to add 1. I'll move this to the other side. So it's going to be 1 plus or minus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 minus 1 is 0. My answers are 2 and 0. Number 40. X squared plus 8x plus 14 is equal to 0. So again, they tell me to solve it by completing the square. The leading coefficient is 1. I'm good with that. It has a constant, so I need to move that to the other side. I move 14 to the other side, which will make it negative 14. Next step, take half of b, which is half of 8 would be 4, square it, which would be 16, and add it to both sides. So now I've made this into a perfect square. It is x plus 4 squared, and this side is 2. Square root both sides. On this side I just get x plus 4. On this side I get plus and minus the square root of 2, which can't be simplified. 2 is prime number. Alright, take the plus 4 to the other side, so it'd be negative 4 plus and minus the square root of 2, and that would be my answer. I told you to skip 45 and 50. I will show you how to do 55 using a graphing calculator. Thought maybe I had a calculator there, but I don't see it. So let's find my calculator. And 55 says y equals negative 4x squared. I'm going to go to y equals, clear, negative 4x squared plus 4x plus 3. They want me to use a graphing utility to find approximate the x-intercepts. So I'm going to graph this, and it looks like there's x-intercepts at somewhere around negative 1 and somewhere around, I don't know, between maybe positive 2. I'm not sure. So I'm going to tell the calculator to find it. Second trace 2. I'm looking for the 0. I need a left bound, so I'm going to first find the one on over here. So I need a left bound, so I'm push enter. And they want a right bound, so I'm going to move to the right of that point, push enter. And if you'll notice now I have two boundaries. I'm asking it to find the 0 between this left bound and this right bound. It says guess. I'm going to push enter one more time, and it tells me there's a 0 at negative 1/2. So that's one of my answers. Now I'm going to come over here and find the other one. Second trace 2. I need a left bound, so I'm going to get over here kind of close, but it's still to the left of it. Enter. I need a right bound. Enter. So you can see I'm looking for the 0 between those two vertical lines. It says guess. I'm push enter one more time. There's another 0 at 1.5. So negative 0.5 and positive 1.5 are my two zeros. Alright, I'm going to pause right here, and then we'll come back and talk about discriminants in the next video.